is on this dot, and the dog is there. Now, when a service dog approaches a street that is not safe to cross, the service dog will sit up. Well, that's what happens here. Imagine this person ready to walk across and a robot goes past. Well, the dog is going to need to sit up because we don't want this person run over by the robot. Your robot, in order to get all of the points for this, and oh, by the way, the point total is 15. Your robot must come from this side, from the west, and completely cross over. But when it does, the dog sits up and it stops the person. So, your robot must completely cross it. It's not good enough, by the way, if your robot does this and then pulls back. So let's imagine the tank is now the robot. If the tank goes over, goes there, and then goes back, that's not good enough. It must completely cross over from the west side. By the way, I'm sorry, yes ma'am?
And didn't you say that the fence had to be down when the robot started?
No, the fence is going to be up when the robot starts, but down when it's done. Okay, so does that make sense?
Yeah.
See how that makes? So it'll start up, and then it'll drop down by you having your robot cross over. Now, when I talk about the west side, on your mat, there's a compass rose. You'll see it right here. North is this way, south, west, and east. Your mat has to be pulled all the way toward the south wall. That's the wall right here. So it has to be pulled all the way that way, so right on this, and on the left side and the right side. In other words, the east side and the west side are centered. So if you have a millimeter of room here, then you're going to have a millimeter of room over there. If you have a centimeter over on this side, a centimeter on that side. Okay? It has to be equal because we know that boards are made slightly differently, so we want it to be in the center. If you have an inch on both sides, you probably built the board wrong. Just saying. That's a lot, okay? So it's going to be centered left side to right side. So pushed all the way that way and centered left to right. So come from the west, go over. Any questions about the service dog? Yes, sir. Yeah.
If the robot completely crosses it this way, can it go like that?
It never states what the actions have to be afterward. So there you go. Great question, sir.
This might be silly. The robot can't run into the service dog.
Let's say no. No running into the service dog.
So it can't just go here.
So we call this field destruction. The ref will stop your robot if it starts destroying things because, well, you'll know this. When you start making this, you're going to realize how long it takes. Remaking it, very difficult. Okay? Especially when there's a tournament going on. Yes, sir?
Is there a penalty for it altogether?
There's not. Actually, these are really secure on there.
Okay.
There are, so these things right here, they look like the little hooks.
Yep.
They're called dual lock. Okay, there are 3 of them holding up a piece that's really, really lightweight. So it's attached pretty well. Technically, there's no penalty, but if you start destroying the field, the ref will stop it. You will get a penalty because it had to be stopped, and it will have to go back to base. Okay? So, number 3, this was the animal conversation. Okay? So we have our moose deer. What was the other name?
Reindeer or moose.
Yes, okay, so we have our reindeer. It's on here. Now, it does not have to be the animal that is on here. It could be any of them. If you substitute it, though, it tells you where each of these have to face. Okay, so you put whatever one you want. And remember, you do not want to match the other side. So if you're on the blue side, don't match the red side. Okay, find a different one. So let's say that this is there, and we'll pretend that there's an imaginary bat here because we're going to put this here. Okay, this right over here is going to be up top. Now, this does freely spin like this. The problem is, you're not allowed to do it that way. Okay, I know. So, you have to do it like this. You do it by, basically, thank you. You do it by pumping this, but it doesn't just have to be you. The person on the opposite side could do the same thing. It takes approximately 14 of these pumps to get it there. Now, when this locks in, you're good. Now, let's imagine you had a bat here. Now, you have 2 bats because you have one here and you have one there. And they have 2 reindeer. So, you now have 20 points for that. They have 20 points, but you get their points too and they get your points. So, this now becomes 40 points. for every pair that you have. Now, after you do this, in order to do more things, the robot is the thing that has to take this off, however they do it, gently or not so gently. And you would have to place other animals on there. You would be responsible, your robot would be responsible for getting it and getting it up here. Okay?
Does the robot have to pump?
Yes, you cannot do the pumping. It has to be the robot. Yes. What?
Can you both pump too fast and things fall off?
Doing both at the same time, does it have the same speed?
Is it only at one speed or pump is too fast?
Well, I will tell you, I got it in 12 right there. So, I think there might be a too fast, but only because it might shake this. I think, honestly, I wouldn't worry about speed. I think you'll be fine, no matter what. Yes, sir.
Does your robot have to move the second that you want to be?
It doesn't have to, but if you want points,
If you want extra points, I mean.
you would have your robot would be the one that would have to initiate. Now, you could have your robot take it, pull it back there, then you manually could set it on something to then deliver over there. Because remember, anything that gets into base is your area. You can do whatever you want to do, okay? But out here, it's your robot that must do it. So this is complicated in terms of like kind of how it works. Everyone kind of see how that works now? This is tough, I'm gonna tell you. As a former coach, like this is really difficult. But if you were to place it on there, I'm just saying, axles, which are these, they fit really well through those holes to place it on there and then maybe pull away.
So maybe you could put axles on the robot and carry these down.
Absolutely, ma'am. Yes, absolutely. So, on to mission 4. Is that okay? Everyone good? Okay, mission 4, feeding. So, visible at the end. The food is, so in here there's food. I think when I came up they were demonstrating this. Food. Random colors. Oh, look at that. Randomly 4 colors. Good. Okay. Now, there are circles with each of these animals. Sorry, that should be over here. Okay? To place a disc in there, that's going to be worth 10 points. But it must be completely in. That is out. Also, let's assume this is gone. That is out. But that is completely in. You can place up to 2 food discs or food little, whatever they are. Okay? 2 of them in there, but they must be the same color. So, nope. Yep, there we go. So you could do 2 there, or you could do the 2 white ones there. It doesn't tell you where the white ones have to go. It can be in any of them, but max of 2, and they must be the same color. So if you did this, and you did that, how many points would you get?
0, because it's
Actually, so if the score actually, no. So I thought when I first read it, I was like, it'd be 0 because it would cancel it out. Actually, what it says is, and this is, oh my gosh, so small. If multiple pieces of food are in one area, all must match each other. Okay? So a piece in a food is completely in a target, 10 points. Well, that's completely in a target. If it's not, we're going to have to probably wait on the Q&A. My initial judgment would be that you would still get 10 points. But honestly, I don't know. I think that's probably going to be a question. You know what? Send it to Scott and see what he says.
What?
We're good.
What?
We're good.
Moose,
We're talking.
moose, deer moose.
Yes.
Moose deer.
Yes. So, other than that question, send it to Scott at centralfloridarobotics.org. Okay. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
I'm guessing, what happens if there's no animal in it?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter?
Nope,
Okay.
doesn't matter.
So you can feed nothing.
Yep, you can feed nothing. Yep. You can feed where, because, animals migrate. So, see? All right, so biomimicry, next. This is the end game one. So this starts off, although it doesn't sit up like that. Although I guess it could, because it's in base, you can do whatever you want with it. This right here, at the end of the match, would hang on this wall. Somewhere. By the way, this green one is already there. Okay, so anywhere on this wall, if it hangs, anywhere, and it doesn't touch the ground. So I guess technically, like hugging that one. If it could somehow sit on this without falling down. Whoa! Thank you. I'll be here until you want one. All right?
Yeah.
That right there is worth, I believe, 15 points. Yes, it is. Okay? Now, it can, of course, be up there.
Yeah.
For 32 points, your entire robot on there. Now, you know how when your robot is in base and you can take on and take off, or put on, take off attachments? It does not need to be every attachment on there. It's, let's put it this way, it's the part of your robot with the smart brick, with the hard drive, okay? The EV3 or the NXT or the RCX. So that part, hanging on this completely, oh, crap, okay? Hanging on that completely is 32. Now you can get both. So you can do 32 plus 15 is? Or 7 please. All right? That's okay. So 47. So yes, you can do that. That is at the end of the game, as are all these things. But that's where you have to end if you want those points. Next, milking automation. So you'll notice that this cow is further away than those cows. This will not spin, not move at all if that's pushed or pulled out. Pushed in, approximately, I don't know, 13 millimeters or so. When you start spinning this, okay, you must spin it by the red, and when you get around to about this point right there, you're going to see milk fall out. Now you can deal with that milk later on. You can either collect it or leave it, okay? And if you stop there, bang, 20 points, done. But if your robot keeps going, that's still okay. You just don't get quite as many points. The manure will come out at this black line.
Oh, here we go. Wait, no.
Didn't come out. Must be constipated. There's a milk under there.
Oh, there's a milk under. Oh, that would be good. If you could strategically keep the milk under there.
You planned that, didn't you? Yeah.
I like it. Okay.
That should work now.
Okay, so we were saying if a milk is not under there, then around the black line. There we go. Ha ha. Hey, it's a natural process. What are we gonna do? All right. So next, milk. No, we just did that. Panda release, 10 points. So the pandas right now are facing each other. But what if they want to be with their friend out in nature? If you move this 90 degrees and you open it up, that is worth another 10 points, I believe. Yes, 10 points. Okay? Benefit of the doubt. Yes, if there's like that much gap, you're going to be fine. If it's much more than that, that's a referee decision. But it's pretty difficult, I'll be honest. It's difficult because it's far away, and it's difficult because other than that red axle right there, there's not much to grab onto. But 10 points. It's great. Plus, there are other missions over there. Speaking of other missions over there, mission 8, camera recovery. You'll notice there's a seal over there. Here, will you lift up the camera off of the seal? See? So easy, right? So easy. Okay, put it back in. And lift it back up. See? Easy. If that camera finds its way, yes. Okay? And by the way, it never says how it gets there. I'm not saying that you can take a camera and just throw it. In real life, no bueno. But in this, sure. Why not? Okay? So if that camera finds its way back in here, then you have earned 15 points. Now, we'll just skip ahead really fast. Okay? The seal in base, that's mission 12. If the seal, don't throw that one. That one's more creepy. But if the seal gently finds its way in base and it is not broken, and if you do break it like this, in the 2.5 minutes you can perform a little surgery. Scott will never see. He doesn't. And then you put it in base. Now remember, base or your tray, your cart, whatever. You can keep that there. That counts as base too. So if it's in there and it's fixed at the end, 1 point. Yes. All right.
How do you get the object to the tray, though?
Oh, anything that's in base now, you are now allowed to touch, and you can. The student now you are allowed 2 students in there in the pit crew essentially. Once anything is in here, that is yours to play with as you want, and they can just take it, move it, done.
Okay.
All right. And because you're not allowed to store anything over here, you probably want to keep a lot of this clean anyway. So when you get something back there, you'll probably want to move it. Like if you get the camera back, you'll want to move it, okay? So any questions about the seal or the camera? 60 points, yes?
Can they be on each other's base?
They can.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, they can. Great question. Yes, sir.
Can you take the seal and the camera attached to each other to base?
Yes.
Or yeah.
Yep, they do not have to be separate. They can be one entity. Wonderful questions. Any others? We good? All right, let's move on. Okay? Training and research. So, you will notice that there is a dog and its owner, which are reversed. Somebody's playing with it, and that's okay, because they're Legos and you're supposed to. So, there's a doggy. Relatively speaking, bigger than my dog. My dog is that big. So, there's a dog and trainer. That is the research and training area. If this finds its, if he, or, yeah, it's a he, we'll say that, yeah. He and the doggy find their way over in this area, completely in. So that counts, that does not. That right there is 12 points. Also, you'll see the zoologist by the pandas. The zoologist, if it goes into the research and training area, 15 points. Now, we talked about our little pucks of manure. There's an iteration, there's alliteration there somewhere. All right? Each of these are worth 5 points in there. You start off with 5 here, plus there's that one there and that one there. You can only have one in your robot's possession at a time. Okay, so it cannot carry 2. It cannot drag 2. It can carry or drag or whatever, one at a time. Each one of these in there. Oh, that's not in there. See, I'm really bad at shuffleboard.
Oh.
Bang! Yes, all right. So, anyway, so each one of these in there, 5 points. Okay? These as well. All right, so let's say we get all 7 in there. That actually brings us to another mission, which is, which one? 15. All samples. If you get all 7 in there, you do get a bonus of 5 more. Okay? So, one at a time. It is tough, but remember, for these 5, you could do the same mission over and over. It goes, comes back, you hit it again. I mean, after you load one. Because when it's in base, you can load as you want. There's no rule saying your robot can't go over this. There's no rule saying your robot can't be wider than it and just travel in between it. You could use the wall as a guide, whatever you feel like, all right, to get them in there. All right, so we have gone over that. Let's see, seal in base, we talked about that. We did not talk about beekeeping. So the bee starts here, the beehive starts here. At the end of it, if the bee is on here and this is out, that is worth, what is it, 12 points? Yes, 12 points. Now, notice we didn't say that the bee has to trigger this. Now, of course, it makes sense. You can just drop this on there. Some part of the bee's probably going to touch it, but maybe not. But if the bee does it, great, there's 12 points. If it rolls, oh, almost. All the way in there, okay? That is now 15. Okay, instead of 12, so it's 3 more points. So if you place something on there, you could have your robot collecting it or some sort of trap where it can just take it and pull it back in. That'll be just fine. Okay? So any questions about beekeeping? Okay, on to our little friend, our little pet. Our green cat, I mean our pink cat. Okay? I'm just kidding. I don't think it's a cat. All right, so this right there, basically, it is without back legs, hind legs. But this is in base. If you can somehow find a way to get this on this, all right, it is worth how many points? 9? Yes, 9 points, okay? Now, of course, what makes sense for this to be fitted to this? How would you do that? Bringing it into base, right? Yeah. Once anything's in base, remember, you can do with it as you please. So by hand, you or your teammates can take it, push it together, you're done. You're good, okay? And remember, you don't have to store it in base. You can also store it on your cart or your tray or whatever. Now, you want a little bonus with it. You want more. There's risk there because if something happens to it, you have to touch your robot. So let's say your robot, we're going to use this as your robot again. It's transporting it over. So Piggy's in a tank, okay? Moving over, and then all of a sudden your robot gets stuck on the beehive, okay? And you have to touch your robot. Unfortunately, anytime you're carrying something, if you have to touch your robot, the ref is going to take that something. So now, even though you fit the prosthesis, the ref has it. So now, this little piggy counts for 0, okay? But, if this little piggy can go to the farm, right over here, now all of a sudden it's worth more. It's actually worth 15. So, there's a possibility. And also, can you do multiple missions at once? Yes. So if you bring your robot out and let's say you wanted to move this around for the cows and you wanted to deliver our little friend, you could absolutely do that. If you wanted to carry a little puck of manure, you could carry that too. If you wanted to go over and also collect the researcher and help the pandas out, you could do all of that, but you don't have to. But you should think about, what could I do if I'm already over there anyway? Is there something else I could do? I mean, how nice would it be if you could bring the pig and a little puck of manure over, and when you drop the piggy off, you just said, oh, here you go. Oh, and you have the trainer as well. So these are things that as engineers, you need to decide on what you want to do, okay? So those are all things that you have to decide over the next few months how you want to strategize this. It is completely your choice. There's no one right answer. Whatever you think is best, well, probably is. Yes?
Is this going to be under like a time limit?
It is. Great question. You have 2.5 minutes, 150 seconds. That's it. Now remember, you are doing all of this programming and building and everything ahead of time. You can start tonight if you want. Okay? You're doing all of this ahead of time. So you're going to be practicing for a few months to get this ready. But when you go, what we say, 3, 2, 1, Lego on the L of Lego. Like 3, 2, 1, that's when you hit go. So don't wait like 3, 2, 1, Lego. No. 3, 2, 1, and when the L is said, you're touching that button and ready to go. Okay? Because you want every second. And you have 2 minutes and 30 seconds to do as many as possible. Now remember, you get 3 runs. It's only the best one. It's not all of them. So if you have a really bad run, don't worry about it because you have other opportunities. Okay? Make sense? Fantastic. All right, so I think we're almost done, but... Oh, milk. Okay, here we go. So, the milk, there. Oh, man, you guys are good. If all the milk is in base, how many points? 1. 1 point. Okay? If you have something holding them, and they go on there, how many points? 2. 2. If you put them on there, and you have maybe 2 of them sitting down and 1 standing. Whoa, hey, whoa. How many points would that be? 3. And how many points
4.
would that be? 4. And remember, it doesn't matter which way they're standing up. They can stand up this way or that way. Okay? Yep, as long as they're standing up, absolutely. Okay? The last thing, I believe, are the penalties. So you'll notice that the ref is going to take 5 of them. Right now they're sitting there, but what you'll start off with is the ref is just going to hold it in her hand or his hand. They're just going to hold them. Okay? And they're going to watch you. If you touch the robot and it's out of base, that's a penalty. So try to avoid it. We know that it has to happen sometimes. And it's better to touch it than to let it spin and destroy things and not get the missions that you programmed for. So we know that sometimes you have to touch it, but try to not do it too often. Because every time you touch it, and even a little bit, like once again, let's say this is my robot, and it's that much, and then I'm like, oh no, wait, whoa. Too late. Now, if you started off here, and it goes this way, and then you're like, wait a minute, that's not right, and you stop it then, that's okay, because you're not outside of base yet. But the second part of it goes out of base, you start do, something happens, you touch it, the ref is going to put one of those little discs in that corner. Each one counts for -6 points. But there's only 5 of them. After those 5, you're not going to be hurt anymore by any points being taken away. So, anyway, this is the mission, or the mission mat. Do any of you have any questions? Yes?
what is the benefit of actually doing this? Because both teams get points. Is it just overall?
Well, but remember, yes, you have that, but there are also at a regular competition, there are 14 other teams that are not paired up with you. So and remember, you're trying to do as well as possible because it's like golf, okay? You know that boring game that old people play? I love it. I'm the assistant to the assistant coach at my school's golf team, which basically means I bring water to everyone. So anyway, golf is not you against anybody else. It's you against the course. It's kind of like bowling, you know? Like, I mean, yeah, of course you want to beat those other people, but really you're trying to do the best that you can, get the highest score you've ever gotten. And so this is kind of the same thing. You're trying to do the best for your team. You're not, I mean, yes, of course, you want to do as well as possible, but it's all about doing the best that you can do. And every week, trying to make yourself a little bit better, and getting that score just a little bit higher, and getting that project just a little more research, and talk to a little more people, and be a little bit nicer to your teammates, even if they really frustrate you because they keep talking over you. All right? You're just trying to get a little better every week, and that's what this is all about. So yes, even though you're giving the other team points, you're giving yourself points. You're doing better than you've done before. So that's why we do it. And honestly, you only have one other team there. There are other 14 teams that might not have been able to do this. So that's really awesome. So,
Question.
yes, ma'am.
How do you choose the team that's next to you and then cooperate with?
So actually, no. So it's a schedule that is, I don't want to say, it's not randomly generated. It's an Excel spreadsheet. And so what happens is the tournament director basically puts in just names. Usually sometimes they do it just like numerical order of the team number. They'll put that in there, and then it's just picked. I will tell you, in the practice round and the 3 real rounds, your person across from you will be different every time. We purposefully made it that way so that you don't go against the same. I don't even say go against. You're not opposite the other team more than once. But that also means that because there are 15 other teams at the tournament, there are going to be 11 teams that you never go up across from. So it really is random. Okay? So, other questions? Yes, sir?
Isn't there an aspect of gracious professionalism to that?
Of course.
effort?
I mean, think of all the help that, like, imagine you're a team there, and you've got a team across from you, and they're a bunch of cute little kids, and they're just starting out, and you're able to do this and help them out getting their points. Like, how awesome is that going to be? What a great example of gracious professionalism that will be helping out another team. And that's another thing. Like, I love seeing teams that go to tournaments that when they see another team, they're like, oh gosh, we did this. We were trying so hard for that same thing. This is what we did. And you'll see it. You'll see teams that will come and help you. You help another team. And I'll be honest, the Bacon Builders are great about that. They were our regional champs last year. They are so good at going and talking to other teams. They're really, they're great. Their gracious professionalism is out of this world because of how willing they are to talk. And they didn't do it to hurt themselves. It didn't hurt them at all. I mean, they were the best last year. And they still did it at every tournament. And I know this because they were at my tournament, the qualifier that I hosted. And then they were at the regional that I hosted. And then they were at the state that I helped host. Like, I was the help there. And they did it at every one. And they did outstanding at all of them. Okay? And it's what FIRST is all about. Thank you for bringing that up. Yes. Other questions? Yes?
I like asking questions.
Yeah.
So, if, let's say this is rotated, so he's like right here. This would count as 20 points even if it's still on this.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
And what happens if you I'm pretty sure you get points for going out of the penalty for going out of the table boundary, right?
So you are not allowed to interact with the other team's field, which means you're not allowed to go across here and push that over.
Okay.
You're not allowed to do anything for them. Hang on their wall. You're like, it's a lot closer. so yeah, no, it has to be on your wall. That would be hilarious. You're like, got there first. It's fine. Other questions? Thank you all for being here. It is awesome to meet all of you. I can't wait to see what you do. If you have any questions, students, parents, otherwise, don't hesitate to ask. We are here to help you out. But now, it's on you. go out and learn, go out and work hard, and we will see you in November or December if you're in a pre-qualifier, and certainly in January if you're in a qualifier. So thank you very much. Have a wonderful night.